Okay, if the sound is working fine. I actually be a little too loud. Gonna lower that a little bit. Okay, working fine. Okay, see if I can productive stream today. So Saturday evening stream just to keep myself busy. That time when you restarted everything. Not sure where everything is. There we go. Apologies for the Chrome. That to sort. Chrome has Apollo GraphQL viewer in it, so that's why I have that up. Can't bind to date times. Oh yes, this is what I was doing. So today, date, format short, that does not work. Has to be in form 2024, 3, I believe. Yeah. So I get to learn how to do JavaScript date formatting. Yeah. JavaScript, get date, OI, or DD. Yeah. Stream. Okay. It can't be this difficult. No. 2020 answer. 2 locale string. There we go. 2 locale date string. There we go. Better. So we're going to output. Hey, Koa Sean, how you doing? How's things? Today. Oh, I can't bind to daytime since this is not non-productive time. That's it's going to be a very specific format. Too. Hmm. Why does that? Why is that so sensitive? Can't do that. Why is that so sensitive? Time, date, HTML time, daytime, large formats. Again, MDN. Okay, so it'll accept that. And that. Hmm. Type, daytime, local. There's so many more elements that you actually don't know about. I'm thankful for ChatGPT. I had to revise my resume and write an about me stuff. I can't wordify in my life. Yeah, resume writing is rough at the best of times. I'm never one for trying to promote myself as well. And I know that resume pretty much has to do that. So, this isn't the HTML element causing it. This is Angular causing it. But what I made today, actual, yeah, it's a date. Date time. Tell me about yourself. Yeah, it's kind of like I do like if I'm interviewing people, I like to talk. If I have to give them a coding challenge, I give them a coding challenge that is kind of like design something and bring it to the interview with you, and then we can talk about it beforehand rather than actually sitting there and trying to watch them squirm. I don't think live coding challenges are very effective because you know you're not that nervous when you're doing code normally. Declare input as date time. I don't want it to be date time. I want it to be date. We're using template binding syntax and a non-component element. When you write date time, it tells Angular to bind this expression from the input name date time, but the time tag is not part of any component directory. Right. Attribute syntax. Okay. What? Let's say I have to do attribute date time today. That build not failing on, or did that? Well, that might have gone through this time. Ooh. So, okay. So things are working. So what I'm trying to do right this second is I'm trying to just lay out some general concepts in my application. I'm starting to work on the pieces. I don't necessarily want the UI to look perfect right now, but I do want the application to start to come together, right? So my goal here is I want to categorize these things by the day, ordered by the most recent to the top, so that if you go into planning, you can see here's what I got to do today, here's what I got to do this week, here's what I got to do this month, and here's what I got to do in the future. And it will always sort the most relevant items to the top. That's kind of what I'm focused on. I figured I'd stream because this is actually Angular. Um, I'm going to build my first UI in Angular. Say first because I'm not opposed to making some mobile clients things and potentially experiment with other technologies. Blazor, I always get stuck in. I get stuck in the weeds so quick with Blazor. So I have to get back into UI UX. I'll probably go React. React is I just don't. the syntax of React has always just tripped me up. So Angular's just always felt more familiar, I suppose. So I kind of stick with it. Nice, Streamlabs. So Streamlabs got demoted the other day by me. They got demoted because I got um, botted, and Streamlabs was still vulnerable to it. So I demoted them, which means that they're trying to post things on a timer that they currently don't have the ability to post. So that's why they can't post links and stuff. I'm going to turn off the timers for now. And the command. Actually, it should still post the commands, right? No, because it's got links. We won't allow them to post it. They're not mod. Disable the commands. Makes me sad, but oh well. So yeah, I got 1,400 follows and 2,000 viewers and messages spammed in the chat all in one go. So it was a rough stream. Okay, so what we're going to do here is I need to basically create several sections. So I need to do something like this. Let's comment out everything in here, actually. Yeah, it was not a fun time. I was seconds away from just ripping the stream apart and just shutting it down and calling it quits. I had yeah, it's because I demodded it because I got so that the attack started. I got a bunch of spam into the chat, so I put the shield mode up to stop the spam, which then created another challenge because it looked like the person was actually trying to directly. They were in the stream, and then I got follow botted for a bunch. And then I did. And then when I thought I'd fixed it, I turned shield mode off and spam directly targeted a member of my chat. And then it got worse, and I got view botted, spammed, and follow botted, and it was just rough. Um, so, um, yeah, that was not a fun stream to be in. And I still got stuff done in the end of it, which was rewarding. But yeah, it wasn't easy. Okay, so I got to figure out what these panels look like. So let's just give this a go. So realistically, what should happen is something like this should live at this level, right? This is the group footprint, right? Not sure that shouldn't be. We're gonna have to do some calculation here to display this properly. So here's what I want to do. What I want to do is when I go into planning, I want to be able to have two views. One of them is a card-based layout that will order the cards in a similar way, and then the other base is this kind of table-based layout. That's kind of what I want to head towards. So when you go into planning, you can see what work you have to do, and the board with the cards will just kind of like a whiteboard with post-its on, and the list just for the sake of I can show more information in the list. Will always be. It will actually be this that's the problem. So let's see. So this would be. Kind of went back and forth over how to write this code the other day. So basically what I'm doing is I'm saying, hey, go and get the data from GraphQL, and then through that data, categorize it into these buckets. I could do that on the server. I don't mind doing it on the client. And ultimately, if I can get to using NGRX, then I can kind of make this happen in the background anyway on the client, and it's not really going to hurt them. Less, right now it's returning every planning item. So the idea with the stream today is to try and get to the point where I'm adding a planning item, so I can add a form in there and get a planning item added in. I'm going to have to deal with some bad data. I'm not yet sure whether I want to handle that or not. So my concept here is one of what you do is when you add a planning item, you add a review date. Well, when you add anything into my system, you will add a review date. That review date will trigger alerts, etc. So a review date can't necessarily pass. It can just kind of alert people to the fact that it has expired. I'm not sure whether it should automatically push it to the next day and the next day and keep alerting, or whether I want to kind of allow some rules there on relaxation. Like if it's not been done, then it should notify and offer to push back a week or push back a day or whatever. But ultimately, a review date should not expire. Is the goal. So I have these grouping rules. So this date ranging group takes the rules and then goes and calculates which bucket the date lands in, and then puts that planning item into that bucket. But now I kind of need these labels. This kind of seems silly because now I'm going to end up with, to get that label, I'm going to have to do a filter on something that I kind of know. Because I could just make an array out of this. Click category labels equal an array though. I suppose it is. Yeah, it's an array of string. It's kind of a string array equals this dot grouping dot for each. Let's map this. Map. Yeah, goes to oh, how do I do this? I'm hard coding them there. I could just do the same thing here. Ultimately, I want to do. It's realistically it's this. This week, this month, beyond. I really need to stop overthinking it. I'm trying to set up a custom PC/NAS all day. It's been generally going okay. I got the best of thing using QFlash. It required a USB to not. You just trying to put old hardware together, or category labels, group dot. E. I know it's key value dot. think that's going to break everything because it's not. BIOS update so you can run the processor. Cheapest processor ever purchased, $80. The package, there's no screen output, like the processor cannot do any screens. You have to put a graphics card. Oh, this is was it a Ryzen CPU or an older Intel with no an F? Is it a KS or a KF? Ryzen. Okay. You have to go for the G models for them to get graphics. Ooh. Yeah, I'm a fan of the AMD processors, but $80. What was that one? Like a 3600 or something like that, or even worse. Pick up a 5800X for like 214. I'll say. That's not working because that's not a number. That is a number in my actual the actual thing. So my group becomes string economy. I'll stand this. Value is 5500. Okay. Array can be the group of value is a planning array. Hanking money. Been a fan of AMD for a few years. You look at Intel processors in the same sort of performance range, and the power requirements and the compatibility issues are just a mess. You buy a decent, even now, if you buy a decent B460 or X460 or whatever motherboard, X470 motherboard, yeah, X470 motherboard, several years ago, you can still put a 5950X in it, or even buy something cheaper. So there's a whole load of range of compatibility. The motherboards are still available. Until it's just too expensive and too power hungry. So this is when I'm not in my happy point, which is kind of why I'm streaming, because it will keep me focused and keep me on the task. I'm trying to try not to over engineer this, and I'm trying not to get too bogged down in it because it's not a final design. I want to get this working just so I can kind of present the ideas. So what I'm trying to do is get the layout roughly working so I can put an ad in there and make sure that I can get start to tinker with some of these concepts. So I was going to do some Twitch bot dev stuff, but I just want to focus on this. And I put a new video up. Got some feedback on it already. Good. I'm using WebStorm and Rider. Actually, both. So I'm using Rider for the .NET side of things, right? And I'm using WebStorm because its tooling is a little bit smoother for this process for the Angular piece. So yeah. So yeah, I was going to try and use Rider for everything, but Rider's tooling on Angular wasn't quite up to date. By the way, I'm all in on my JetBrains tooling, which Deflux loves. Okay, so, where am I going wrong here? Is the yes, I know VS you can use to do and they show in a list. I've used those for times that I want to solve something and need to postpone. Yep, I can do to do this later over here. I can bring up to do. They'll tell me where. So I can do it. It's just right now I just kind of yeah. The beauty of the JetBrains tools as a whole is that they're all super consistent. So most of the plugins work in all the tools. So that Rider is so great. They should give me a free 10 years thing. Oh, how so? So did this ever turn on, by the way? Settings sync is on. Gotta figure out how to do that. In theory, all this should have synchronized to be the same. Anyway, so what I'm trying to do is I kind of define these grouping rules, and in the date range grouping, I go through those and kind of figure out, given a date, which grouping rule it fits in. And then the order index is the is just to help me order them. Kind of makes sense. But now I need to go and get this index to get this label. So I thought, oh, well, I'll just do this. But now in here, group does not have a key and a value, but the key is a string. So I'm not sure what the key actually relates to. So if I do group.key, so it is the actual key. It's just not. I just need to cast it as a number. I do that. Oh, dot pass. Can I do that in? Dot pass. Pass in. There you go. Number dot pass. New Angular is confusing me a little bit. Okay, so we can do that this month. There we go. So our planning items are there. And then they would be elements like this. So then it would be like that. This would be item dot title. See what that looks like. Planning items. There we go. So there's my planning items. Again, I don't need this to be perfect. I just need it to be something useful. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of transaction. Be planning it. Okay. They're not this month though. I do need the review date in there as well. That would help allow me to so let's have a look at this. Item dot review date. Again, I've got a lot of thinking to do on the layout, on what I actually want to show. Yeah, 29th of the 2nd is not this month. So my categorization is a little off, right? Then we need to format that. Date. Is it date format or is it format? Right, there we go. So Feb 29th is not, I suppose it is this month if we're being accurate. March 5th this month. So what it should do, so I need to enter one for today. That should show up as today. So let's go over to the API. Actually, let's get the token first. So I am open to suggestions on any of this. If you I mean the UI UX, I'm not too much, I'm not panicked about. I'm just laying things out generally, just to kind of get the feel. So I don't need to worry about, oh, this pixel's not right, this color's not right, that's not readable particularly. But in terms of the general concepts I'm going for, I'm always open to that sort of discussion. So we go over here and from my video, liquid sky, planning items. Let's create a new planning item. So item 4 today. Do implement add planning item. By the end of the stream, we should have the UI place to add a. Again, so what I'm building on here is I'm building on the idea of, okay, well, I've got I can add the planning items in, I can see the planning items, I can edit them, I can set the review date, I can start to tinker with some of the notification stuff, and start to really get an idea of what it is I want to do and how to set the direction. So this is going to be the second. Send that. That should work. Then in a few seconds. There's our planning item. Okay, that. Okay, so there's our planning item. So now we should. There's our planning item. Okay, so that's not working, right? Because obviously it's put March 2nd down the bottom. and just put it in this month as a category. I expect it to at least categorize it correctly. Well, I say expect. I wrote all that code without any testing, without any validation. So I don't expect it to do anything. So the idea is, if the days matches is in the range, then it goes into day. If it's greater than this, greater than equal to this, or less than or equal to this, then that. So that's the concept. So let's go and see what we can find out. That cache, that. That bigger. There we go. Okay, it doesn't cache it, you gotta have it open. Okay, so the date we passed in was February 29th. Don't care about that one right now. Right. What are you debugging? Passed in March 5th. Don't care about that one right a second. March 2nd. Okay. So this one, it is 0 days. Okay. So then we're going to go through the rules. So the rule is beyond. So if the rule is greater than or less than min days, which is not, then we get this month. So if it's greater than or equal to that's why. That's why. Okay. So this sorted them. This sorted them in reverse order. Let's see if that changes it. Today. Not quite. It does do today now. So it's almost right. So let's put that debugger back and then see what it's going to do then. So the weird thing there is it reverses it. So I was always returning the last rule. That was the goal, but why would it sort by order index? Does it sort by descending? In that case? Ascending. Built on converting the elements into strings, then comparing the sequences of UTF. Okay. So that's not doing what I. That's me not understanding how sort works. It's not like a linked sort, right? So this is AB. A dot order index greater than B dot order index 1 -1. See that. Okay, so that's still showing today. Okay, that's fine. I know there's an equals state in there. Well, no, there shouldn't be. However, let's put the debugger back in here. Obviously, there's 2 items that shouldn't show under today. One should go in beyond, I think, because this rule doesn't fit. So this one, where's this heading? So the first rule, 0, 0. What? February 29th, 2024 is 27 days away from now. I don't know how math works. New date, get date true. Eh, that's not what I want. Okay. That's not quite what I'm thinking, is it? So get date will give you the number of the day in the month. I want something more like that, don't I? Date dot. I want to subtract. I want to get the differences in days. Also, I'm getting catapulted by the. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that because the English way I would pronounce that would not sound right on my stream. Thank you, Connie. Stuff just keeps getting cooler on your stream. Okay, so calculate a difference. JavaScript. Yeah. Oh, both of you finished. Oh, okay. Math. Why do I have to do that? Math round math. I don't want absolute though. I do want. Always go with Sean. Thank you, Roman. Thank you for coming hanging out. Appreciate it. Why do we have to calculate the milliseconds in one? I don't want absolute because I do want negative days. So that will give me millisecond difference, basically. So I want that. And then I want to multiply, I want to divide that by 1 day in milliseconds. Private const 1 day is 1000 times 60 times 60 times 24. Fast memory can have constant. Okay, that's say you have that divided by 1 day. So math around. So what don't you like about it? Can't subtract 8. Okay. TypeScript. Date. One time on number of days. After 4. Difference in milliseconds. So this would be get time and get time. Okay, that changes that up a little bit. So days is 0 between now and then. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. But then, okay. So date is 29th. -3. That's better. Don't fit in any rule. So today is the last rule. Okay, so I'll worry about that later. Okay, so then March 5th. Days is 2. So today is 0. I'm gonna put it in today as well, isn't it? So no matter what I do there, because 0 days, is that a really bad idea? I also have to decide what I want to do with colors and whatnot, because this is not ideal. This is the total background color for the login page. But I don't like the minty green there. So the idea is that I categorize those rules, but those rules so in the case of the 5th, which is 3 days away, right? It's greater than 0. But this rule so I have to put max days there, don't I? Max days 0. That to work, right? Because then that will hit that rule. So that one. Stranhorn. Unicus, hello, how are you? I'll be US streaming. Yeah, I'm feeling productive. Wanting to carry on tinkering, so rather than sit here watching streams and trying to concentrate, I figured I'd stream it. This one, now the days are 2. So the rule today, so I'm greater than or equal to or less than or equal to this week. How did min max days come out as 0 for this week? Because today's the 6th day this month. It's not wrong. Looking at a Blazor Cosmos DB Azure Storage Pulumi project base. I want something to build small projects on. Blazor Cosmos DB Azure Storage and Pulumi. Build small projects. uh, okay. How's that going? Well, that Pulumi will be a NuGet package. Nice. Yeah. Like a duck. It's looks all serene on top, but underneath it's it's scrabbling. Okay, so this week was calculated this way because it is currently the 6th day by JavaScript standards, right? There's 0 to 6 days. Sunday is 0. We're going to have this Cosmos part done based on abstraction that auto updates queries when the data changes. Oh, cool to see. Thank you for the comment on the video, by the way. Appreciate it. I now have, by the way, because of my disaster of a stream today, I have no bots enabled right now. I even removed Streamlabs entirely for right this second. I'll figure out what I want to do. So there's no call outs, no nothing there. Great. Made the project public once I rip out all my accidental secrets. Yeah. I've been really nervous about, because of the size of this code base, I've been nervous about committing things I don't intend to commit, you know, in a rush or whatever. So I kind of tend to review every PR I make. Well, I thought it was a good overview. Cool. Thank you. I don't know what went wrong with the sound today. I actually had to cut out a ton of stuff with some weird edits because I was the keyboard was being picked up massively. The noise cancellation didn't do anything. I'm not sure why. So yeah. Okay. So this week gets picked up because it's 0, 0 stuff. So it's essentially the same as that. The 5th is next week. So that's not right because that is so does that mean middays? That stuff is 0. How am I going to calculate this week? I mean, it is this week still. Technically putting it in the right bundle. It's technically next week, so it's this. It should land in this month. That's the challenge here. So, I mean, ad starts in a minute and a half. If anyone is watching is affected by that, I apologize. Am I getting drop frame, which is showing me in the red. Oh, oh. Ugh. Huh. Okay. So, quick review of what I'm doing. I am trying to just kind of categorize my planning items. The goal being that when I go into here, it will highlight the things I've got to review up to the top. Right. So today, this week, this month, this one is being landed in the wrong category. So just got to kind of figure out how to get my head around actually, it is this month, isn't it? It is categorizing it correctly. Huh. So this one is going to. So today is going to. If it is today, i.e., this is the current day of the week, then it's going to land in today. It's going to go through them in the right order. 0, 1. So if this was Wednesday and this was Friday, then this would get put in this week. But this month is correct because this is 0, but max days this days until end of month. So it is technically this month. Because the 5th Okay, so that's the first one. That's this one. Okay, so the days is 2. And the today is 00. This week is 00. This month is 029 and we're 2. So that fits. So we're in this month. I could do next week, right? And then the second, which is now, that'll go in today. Oh, that's getting placed in there. That's getting placed in today for the wrong reason, though. That's weird. So if we fix this to do the right thing, um, that would be this last. Gotta figure out what the order is. My own education. So this rules are sorted in. Ah, they've gone in reverse order. That's why. So the rules are 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's fine. The last rule is this month. So everything is in this month. Okay, that's correct. Now, well, it's wrong, but it's correct. So, what am I trying to do? I am trying to this sort of stuff is always going to get me because I'm not entirely sure what I'm trying to achieve. I don't have any unit tests available, so I can't validate the data, so I can't mock the data. I'm not going to spend the time I need to do, or that I should do, to go off and do this. Because what I should really do is go off and write a bunch of tests, but I don't want to get bogged down in writing testing on the client. That is not something we're learning right this second. Um, hmm. So today is 00. This week is 00. Range grouping. Just put that back in again. Let's see what it does for us. I think, okay, so the date we're passing in is February 29th. That's a -3. Economy, that's okay. Tuesday, March 5th. That's 2 days. And then March 2nd, days is -1 UTC. Oh no, it's GMT. Yeah. No, it's local time. But when we do new date, what does that do us for new date? Get time and date get time. Date dot get what? Say get UTC day as a get date, right? Get time get UTC day. That's giving us that. Hmm. Hi, Sultry. How are you doing? Good evening. A very early morning for you, right? Ah, very late night. Uh, I think I'm gonna have to scrap this and just rethink it as a whole because it's just too complicated. Um, I think the concept isn't bad as far as the categorization goes. I like this design. It's what I'm working on. Yeah, yeah. I'm not so. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a UI so that when people come into the stream and they want to see what I'm working on, they don't get to just see masses of code, right? I definitely appreciate the fact that it is much easier to kind of conceptualize what I'm talking about um, when I'm actually able to show what I'm doing. So I've been working on this UI for the last couple of days, trying to tie it up with everything. Really gotta change that. So um, basically, the way it works is um, to tell it my password. Um, I can sign in and I get taken through to my dashboard. So we've kind of worked on the parts of laying it out. So this is a reusable component and all that sort of stuff. I can go into planning, and the idea will be to planning in when I go into planning that I see the things that I need to work on ordered by this review date. And it's obviously not doing that right this second. But the ones that I should review first should come up to the top. I'm yet to decide what I really want to do with this sort of stuff where the planning item has expired. Because in my goal is that that would never happen. Actually, I need to remove that. So, what I'll work on today on stream is having a button to add a planning item so I can start to get the workflows in place. Because again, the way this works is I don't think it's actually available right. SkyDraw startup too. So the way the application is going to work is I have this view, the client over here, and when that was bugging me, I can when I write data, I add data, it goes up through the APIs, it adds the data in here and then processes through Kafka, outputs it to a GraphQL database or to a database that I've got GraphQL set against, and then I can read it back out onto the client. So that's kind of my goal. So having the add button in here will allow me to prove that from this side that I can actually make it work. Still a lot more pieces to go. But I kind of the other day worked on the sign up, so I can go in and I can say Bob Smith. And I can go and sign up and I can enter my information and we got a control working. So the validation's working and all that sort of stuff. So starting to feel like I'm actually building something. So the biggest problem is the UI is not my strong point. So I feel when I'm streaming it, I feel way more out of my depth and it feels way more uncomfortable than normal. So I don't like doing it on stream, if I'm honest. But I think it's a necessary part to help people see. There's more to what I'm doing than just a whole bunch of code that is really tiresome and boring. So we can probably remove all that right this second. Ooh. Okay. Clean that up. I'm not sure what the T head does up here for this. I don't see it working. So let's just comment that out and see if it changes anything. We can sign in. Do that. Oh, need that password back. It's coming together nonetheless. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. So, color scheme, etc. I'm not sure about. This mint green in the background works on the landing page, but I don't think it works here. Right now, it does look like some sort of financial management application. And obviously, I've got remnants of the templating in place. So, yeah, yeah. I'm just out of my depth. Well, not out of my depth. I'm out of my comfort zone. If I spend time learning some of this stuff, it'll be much easier. But I generally kind of, if I'm being honest, I kind of tend to rush through the UI piece so that I can get back to the server side. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, that's going to have to change anyway, but yeah. The color scheme almost reminds me of a medical application, to be honest. It's a work in progress. You can always improve it later. Yes, I kind of see that, yeah. The goal actually is, so there's three different components to my application stack, right? There's going to be ticketing, planning, and stories, right? So my goal is ultimately that what you're able to do is you're able to click up here and navigate between the three. So if you have all three systems, all three components enabled, each one will have a distinct color scheme. So it really doesn't matter what I use here. I have tried to make them variables so that I can switch them out very quickly. So they are variables right now that don't have tons and tons of CSS with the names copied all the way through, or the values copied all the way through. So it's not the end of the world. But the goal would definitely be to have to do a passive tidying up and UI review. But also, if I can find someone who is good at UI UX that is interested in kind of stretching their legs and doing some of that stuff as well, then maybe I can find someone and yeah, using Tailwind to its fullest. Well, I've got to learn how to use Tailwind to its fullest, right? I've got to learn some of those pieces. So they said we're going to do the templating and stuff, and the themes rather. So right now, I kind of want to kind of build on the functionality because there's going to be a piece coming up when I start looking at NGRX that is going to be extremely heavy, and then I want to kind of look into the GraphQL push stuff so that I can see if I can get an actual real-time update coming to the client and actually popping in and seeing it work. So, yeah, because I think that would be very cool if someone adds the planning item and assigns it to you, then it just kind of appears in your list. But yeah, we got a whole lot of stuff to do. So let's focus on the add button. Let's try and get a form in here. I mean, forms aren't exactly the difficult thing, but let's add a button in here. So again, what I want to kind of do is I want to make different perspectives of this view, but I don't think that's testing me at the right point right this second. What I'm envisioning is like two buttons. Here, let's have a look. Tailwind, there's icons. Making it editable is a great option. I'm a big apologist for working on the thing and allowing it to easily change later. I need to sweat those details right now. Yeah, I mean, if I get bogged down with things, it's just gonna take me. I'm just gonna get, oh well, let me move a pixel here, let me move a pixel there, let me change this color, let me change this, and I don't have an eye for that design, so I'm gonna try and do the best I can to make it functional, and then kind of review it all later. Because the real thing of it is, I need data. So when I'm coming up with something like this, kind of presenting a thought I have is my most important thing, and that I think this is, and apart from that same view transaction, view item, right? That can go away, right? That's kind of, I don't think even view item makes sense there, but yeah. Oh, I just saw the announcement that starts with due to some pathetic excuses is something serious. So the other day I got follow botted, spammed, view botted all in the same time period. So the stream got in a bit of a mess for about an hour. So I had 1,400 extra followers in the space of a minute or two. I had 2,000 viewers. It was none of it legit. It was all a mess. And I think the person was in the chat or in the stream, in the chat. They weren't talking in the chat, but the bot was. So I was not amused with that. So it made it so that you have to have had an account for quite a while before you can actually chat in stream right now. I think I've set it to a month. If you're signing up a new account, you can watch, but you can't follow. Well, you can't chat, which I do apologize for. And also in the Discord, you have to have your phone verified to be able to message, and you have to, and I've restricted things on there. I'm going to work to put an entry workflow in where you have to kind of be reviewed, or at least answer some questions before you go into the chat and have full access, just to try and kind of make a barrier there, because that wasn't fun. So yeah. So hello, by the way, Ian. Hope you're well. Okay, so let's add a button in. Let's get a form popping up, and we'll talk about what that means. And we'll see if we can get the layout in here. I'm just going to break that out for right now. This doesn't really matter what this looks like right this second. So what this is doing, by the way, is I'm looping through the group of the these, and then looping through the items in those things, in those categories. And it's kind of doing that based on the data. I think I may have to take a quick break. Yes, I do. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Just switching out my headphones. Oh, I'll let the dog's be in pain. Thank you. Oh, I've these earphones are better for streaming with. They just a little bit more comfortable. So, and it's weird streaming without the earphones in. I get very self-conscious about the way I speak. So it's kind of a necessity to have them on. But it is raining outside, so one dog went out fine, and the other one was like, "I'm not going out there." So we'll see how that lands. Okay, let's add. What I was going to look for then is tailwind icon. Icon generator for CSS, tailwind CSS icons. That's in Flowbyte. I had the displeasure of opening one of my VODs the other day and going, "Wait, I sound like that." I don't hear you. It's I always I just made a video today and uploaded it, and editing that was not fun. Like I know the entire thing with streaming comes about you gotta realistically you're creating content, right? So making videos from your content makes sense, but it's really hard to do. So um yeah, I listening to myself for 3 hours while I was editing the video was not fun. And I realized I need to figure out how to slow my speech down enough because there are certain words, especially when I'm thinking fast, that I couldn't even tell what I was saying. So there's definitely some gaps in my speech where I think I see them clearly, but I clearly didn't. Okay, so let's learn more hero icons. So what I'm thinking of is solid micro outline icons, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I know I'm not alone. But it's still kind of tough. So what I'm thinking is chart box uh card table. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking this. Sometimes I say stuff that is wrong or strange just to see if someone is listening and asking, but never happened yet. Streaming is hard. Streaming is very hard. But it's fun. It's rewarding when it's rewarding, and oh, it makes up for the harder times. But again, I kind of my my goal for this stream is to just share the development. And if people do ask for videos like the one that I made today, they do ask for videos, I will try and make them. Right. That one was specifically requested. Why do I use Mediator? What good is it? And I hope that I got the point across because I cut 30 minutes out of that video. Now that I know that we are listening. Well, Mediator is the library, not the pattern. How to use Mediator to replace kind of like service calls and stuff, or to replace services. That's how I did it. So what I'm thinking, okay, what I need to get better at here is I need to start thinking about this from the design perspective of, okay, I can drop this I can, if I can drop this in Figma at some point, then I can actually build this out as a UI in Figma. So what I'm thinking of is, let's see if this is, where's my screens? I go to Figma. A way to speak of thing creates nothing brains out there. Yeah. So, okay, so what I'm thinking of is something like this. So, kind of thinking that you have kind of two icons up in the corner, right? Uh, uh, maybe a little bit bigger. No, don't resize. That's weird. They're SVGs. They should resize, but anyway. And then they switch between this kind of view, which would be this cards, or the view as I currently have it, right? The this kind of view, right? That's kind of my thought there. So they end up here. Yeah, I mean that's the reality of everybody. You know, very few people sit and watch a stream that are actually doing things themselves anyway. Like especially when you're other streamers, because the reason you're streaming is probably because you're doing stuff anyway. So downtime is away from computer time anyway. So I don't think it's uncommon. Um, you know, some streams work to be, you know, help you be productive. It's just the way it is. Uh, Background noise, etc. So I need to get better at doing this. So if I take, right, I paste that into Figma, right. So kind of it's either this is this kind of icon, and these are this kind of icon. That's what I'm thinking really. I put frames around them. And I've yet to learn how to use Figma effectively. I think I'm creating entirely new pages for the case of each page. I'm thinking that when you click this icon, you see this view. When you click this icon, you see this view. Shouldn't leave there. So let's put a button in for now. And then we'll, get there. So I need what I do need is kind of a bar to go across that top. For now, just to fit in there. Let's go to Tailwind components. Browse components. So these components have been developed using Tailwind. They're not actual components; they're just markup and some JavaScript. So you can go along. I don't know what it looks like without. I paid for the license, the lifetime license for it because I think it was. I feel that it's very useful, and Tailwind is something that I definitely want to utilize. And they're updating these all the time. Navigation, overlays, elements. It just means that some of it you have to build, like the drop down list, you have to build the functionality for. You get the layout and the stuff, but you don't get the actual behavior. I had to kind of build that the other day. Dialogues, overlays, navigation. Lists, headings, page headings, section headings, card headings, section headings. So look, job postings. This is more like what I want, right? That would be useful, ultimately. But let's not overthink it for right this second. Let's go with this for right this second. So we need something like this. That gets posted in there. This would be planning items. Okay. Go back here. Yep, that's what I want. And this is obviously not going to say create new job. It could be new item. Okay. That's good enough for now. I don't need to, again, I don't need to make this perfect. So now I'm getting to kind of how this is going to work. So I'm not optimizing this for, ooh, that looks really bad. Yeah, we're going to have to change that. I'm not optimizing it for mobile layout anyway, right? I have to think about it. I obviously have to think about it. I know that. But it's not high up on my list of priorities because this is a sort of tool that you don't really want to be trying to do on a mobile device. That being said, I experimented with the design when I did my last version of my game tracking site. I did a version where when I clicked the button, it actually slid out the form that I needed. It didn't pop it up in the screen. It didn't. Oh, it slid it out, which meant that when you were in this view and you hit it, the form just slid out and took up the available space, right? So the form was still fully usable on a mobile device, which I think is something that I kind of liked. I don't mind a form sliding out of the page and being available down the right hand side. I get to see most of the rest of the page. And one of the things that I did consider was like, shifting the page over, which I don't like the visual movement of that, so I'm not going to try that. But this will slide out. So I'm thinking that I hit the button and it slides a form out over the top of the right hand side, and it fills out the actual layout. It fills out the size of the page. And again, it does mean that experience, when obviously when this is all rearranged properly, this experience doesn't go weird either, because the this new panning item just pops out over the screen just the same way it does in the full scale. That'd be what I'd be wanting to do. So if you're new to the stream and you're watching for the first time, you're always welcome to ask questions, or prompt discussion. As long as it's on track with what we're doing, that's fine. But I'm always happy to answer questions about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, etc. So I don't mind discussing. The menu flyout. So that it comes out from that side. So if I hit, so obviously this button's going to be over here. If I hit the button, it's going to fly out from that side. So yeah, flyout works that way, and I think the form works nicely that way, because then even on here when I hit it, it's going to fly out here. I kind of like the style of that. I think then what you do is all these are just navigable items, so you don't end up actually popping up any screens at all. Everything's just navigable. Again, this is a sort of application. I don't really think you should be doing anything with a mobile device. I just want to make it, I don't want to make it mobile as a priority, but I want to make it so it's actually usable on a mobile device. But functionality above everything right now, and then come back and design all the other pieces later. I'm gonna have new planning items. I gotta add teams. I've got to add boards. I gotta add all sorts in here. Initiatives is a concept I've yet to discuss really on stream. That is the idea of multiple planning items. So yeah, let's go with that. So the thing I'm gonna do that is go back to components. I believe I used Tailwind last time I did this, so it is. Sorry, it is definitely part of this. Form, sign, combo, action panel. Overlays, slide overs. Here you go, slide overs. So yeah, wide empty with background overlay. So I can choose to do it two ways, right? I can choose to do with branded header, with save and cancel. This is kind of what I want to do. Here you go. This is the idea. Create project form. So it's similar to this, right? Where have actual form. I could do that. Challenge with that is if you size it down to mobile, does it work fine? I suppose it kind of does. Contact lists, file details. What I'm doing here, this one is probably the closest to what I want to do, right? And it scales down pretty. That scales down pretty well, right? Actually, this one's with a. I don't need the big blue header at the top. Yeah, that's the goal. So let's see what we can do. So the challenge of this is, yes, the challenge. Whenever you do this in Tailwind, it's not quite so simple as just copy code in and make it work, right? What I need to do is I need to copy that. Then I need to go to Dev. I'm signed in. And then this is what is this? Kind of want to make this, let's say, fly out. What is it? Slide over. Actually, let's call it correctly. Slide over. Oh, this one's. That one works. The wider version does work. Kind of prefer that one, but wide slide over form. Slide over wide component. I'm going to try and do something here. Maybe foolish. We'll see. Do slide over wide. Wide component. What you do is you copy TS path. So then we go to shared. And let's do slide overs. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and make it so that I can pass the content in and have the buttons subscribable so that I can just create a component. I think I've done this. But again, I'm not 100%. This is going to be a component, and going to be I'm going to call it slide over wide. Slide over wide. Skip tests. Okay. So the TS, I'm going to copy in app slide over wide, app slide over wide. Yeah, that's all fine. Slide over wide component. Make it standalone. Standalone because I don't want, there's no modules that I want to put this in right now, and I can just include this component, not every other component. If I wanted to create a module of components, I could do that as I'm learning. But yeah, we'll see. And then in the HTML, you can copy that, paste that in. However, this is going to want to say, so Angular 17 brings with it this syntax is slide over. Right? So you can get rid of that stuff and just have that, which if you've used Blazor, that doesn't look too dissimilar. What's the point? See, again, now this all goes that way. Oh, I hear a dog crying. Okay, I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna go sort out our dog. Yeah, right back. Okay, we'll see how long this lasts. I have a visitor with me. We'll see how long she actually manages to stick without rooting around and chewing something. That was about 3 seconds. Okay, so I'll remove the markup from this. So let's go and add that component in, and what we'll do is we'll trigger that on. We'll add that component into the screen, and then we'll trigger. So what I want to do is in my modules planning views, planning items, I want to include slide over wide. Now, what I'll probably want to do is actually make this its own, another control that has that, because this is going to have a form in it, right? So I probably want to have a component in this module for that form. But for right now, we'll see how we do this. So give that an ID. No. Yeah. Okay. We give that an ID of planning. I think that's how you refer to an ID. Been a while since I've done that. What we're going to want to do is we're going to trigger that slide over, right? So Angular attach ID to component. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Because what you do in the code is we're going to want to get that component. Right. Well, good morning. How are you doing? Your good morning, I assume. I'm going to say, you normally greet me with good morning, but normally it is my morning. How are you doing? So I need to learn again how to get component by ID Angular, right? It's not quite what I'm after. It's not this, right? What's the wording for what I'm after? Little dog is found a paper napkin and is chewing the paper napkin. Get element Angular refer to component code. That's what I do. View children. There we go. This is more what I want to do. So I want to get the component. There you go. Components. View children components. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, so view child. That is the name of that form and planning item form. That is a planning item form is a app side of a white component. The wallpaper. Come on. What have you found? I'll be right back. That's what I get for trying to stream on a Saturday evening. She decided to start chewing everything else, so. Okay. Okay, so this is. Is this because it's not imported? I don't know. It's imported. It's fine. It was very hyper today. Thank you. The thing is, they've been separated for a couple of weeks now. And yeah, they don't like being apart from each other. Like they're sat opposite each other in the room. She got out again. She wants to come and see me. Oh dear. Okay, let me finish this up and then we'll I think I'm about to go and sit with some dogs. Property add planning item form. So why does that not give me, does that have to be query list? No, because that's view child should give me that instance. Angular view child. How to use view child. View child set. But that's not how you do it. Using view child with DOM components, there's some import. View child, some import element ref. Oh, that's what it is. I thought it could. Yeah, put. Hold on. because it can be that. Okay. Okay. So it's not initially set. It can be null. Okay. Then if we do planning out, then we do this dot planning form dot toggle slide over. We should. Oh, you've got to hook up the actual button, right? That's how code works. You have to actually make them do things. A planning item. Okay. We go back here, go there. No. Can't bind to ngif since it is not. Isn't a known property of div. So that is because in here somewhere there's another ngif. Right? And the way this works is the way this works is you don't have a lot of nested ngifs because they weren't negating each other. But now there you go. Now the way that Angular 17 works is ngif has to be included as a component. And that kind of works. It doesn't quite fit in the layering, but it does kind of pop out kind of fast as well. Let's do 800 milliseconds. That feels a little smoother. This slide over is false, I think we'll set to begin. Okay, there we go. Now we can pop that out. So we do have some issues with the layout of the page. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, that look for a top 0 in the component, or I would have looked for that. Default layout component, class equals sticky, yeah. The menu is that. That would make sense. No, I mean, I'm not panicked about it. The priority right this second would actually be the form anyway, so that would be. Oh yeah, the slide. Unless I can do that in the slide over. Which I think that would kind of look janky, but let's have a look. Relative Z10. Let's do Z50. There you go. Actually, this isn't a little bad. I mean, close on click is a little bit let's get rid of some of them, eh? The close panel does belong. The cancelled one does belong. Yeah. That's better. There you go. Okay. So that's working a little better. I haven't actually benched it. Uh-oh. But ultimately, I want this to have the title. So we would have import Public. I'm gonna keep the header visible, then you'll probably have to give it a height and then move the slide over down using the top. Yeah, I'm not gonna get. I'm the core element of what I want to achieve there is I want to make the form. I want to be able to put the form inside the slide over, right? I can reuse the slide over. But I think that looks okay. So, um, I mean, there's always time for doing the layout and stuff. As long as I've got the general elements in there, I think it's okay, and I don't get bogged down with um the minutia right this second, which will slow me down. You know, that's always slow me down, and especially on stream when I've been doing Angular stuff. You know, we've always been uh yeah. So let's do public string, public. I always want to do it. I always want to do it. String equals that. And then import public string. Can't help myself. It's just the way it is. So ultimately, that's going to be the title, right? So over here, when we set it, we're going to set the uh, title equals. I think does it let you do that? As equals add. So does that work? Yeah, it does. Okay. I've been doing square braces around it. The square braces requires you to put single quotes in because then it evaluates it as code. But if you do it that way, it works that way. Okay, so we have title. Uh, let's do summary equals a let's call it summary import public summary string equals that. That feels okay right now. That works. So back here. So we're going to replace that summary there with that. Summary. And then basically everything in here. Now the buttons I'll worry about later. So right now, can you do children of some kind? That's what I'm kind of going to work on right now. So that's what I'm kind of think. Okay, what do I do now? So I think there is a way of me specifying basically in here. This is the actual content, right? In which case, then this is just a slide over of a form. And then I just have to hook into the events of this with the content. I don't know. So, yeah. Then I can create a component out of the form that is an app slide over. That's my thought there. So, Angular embed child HTML inside of component markup. Let's see. Yeah, so I want my components. There's a way of doing it, I think. The entities pulling me to set my emulators in Docker. Nice. The dog's gone quiet. I'll be right back. I'd bring her up onto the camera, but she's a black dog, so I think the camera stuff might actually be trying to hide her, like it does my chair. Top component. So if we can achieve this, this would be awesome for the end of the stream, right? So what I want to be able to do is put a form inside of this nested component. That would be the goal. And then we could have the form and the buttons I can worry about afterwards. I can create events for them, right? And then they get triggered. Oh, lie down. Come lie down. Come on. Lie down. At least I don't have two in here right now. That'll make it worse. But ultimately, that's not view child. I wanna basically say, okay, well, I've got content. I think I've done this before. Or you can have a ref to the container slide over and pass a function into the form to run along with the submit. That makes sense. I mean, well, let's see what happens. So this is, if I do that, right? Hello world, right? What does it do? There's a name for this as well, I think. There's actually there is a name and I can't remember what it's called. Because I want to take the content. And the one's part of the form too. If I make the slide, yeah, if I make the slide over, just the slide over part, then yeah, the form could sit inside of it. If I'm looking weird, it's because I'm sat further back to make sure that I avoid an escape path for a dog to go chewing while I can't see. Sit down. Sit down. You're good. Come on. The buzz form 2. So Angular pass extra HTML into component. ng content. That's what it is. There we go. That's why. Okay, so if we go here and basically say everything up until, and we'll worry about the buttons in a second. We do everything up until there, right? Divide a container. Let's do that. Do that one. Right. So now our thing looks like that. Let's put the closing tag form. It may happen when the tag has already been closed. Where's the form? Oh, there's a form in here. That's not the one. Oh, it is already the form. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That is all the form. NG content. Come on. Lay down. Say. Come on. Lay down. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Lay down. Lay down. Lay down. No, don't take high fives right this second. Good girl. So now if we go here and go to planning, that's not kind of working the way I want it to, is it? So that was correct. It's just that I collapsed the wrong thing. So that is NG content. Okay, that's better. Okay. So the entire thing is a form. So how would I do that? I would say, okay, well, no, that's actually doable because now I have a submit action, right? Get the class in the form and make it div maybe. I can still put in the form content. Hey, hey, come here. Hey, come here. Lie down. Lie down. Stop eating paper. Stop eating paper. You're a disaster. Stop eating paper. Good girl. So I can make she lies down and looks at me like, okay, I'm settled now. And then the moment I start talking again, she gets up and starts wandering around. Hey. If the stream goes off, it's because she's unplugged something. You're just a puppy, I know. I know. Oh well, I'm gonna have to do this eventually anyway. Sometimes. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure that out. I do have a few extra cameras I could use. Come here, lie down. Sit. Good girl. You're gonna give me a high five? Thank you. I don't have any cookies. Be good, I'll get you a cookie in a minute, okay? Uh-huh. Stay. Um okay, so if I put a form in here, so I actually did this the other day. I actually used the form control name and I passed it down, right? So it's something similar to that. With the select, I think I did. I actually bound it to the form control using this. So you could do something similar with the form of it, but ultimately I don't even need to do that because the form in here, I just need to give it I can give it a group name or I can give it a group, pass that in. And then, yeah, come here, come here, come sit down for a minute. Come on, I need to finish this. Go. Um, How would that work? Turn that form into a div and pass an actual form. Yeah. The buttons are part of the layout. That's the challenge, yeah. So I know. A lot of food. So yeah, I could make it so that the form was passed in. Then the layout of the slide over would be messy because the layout of the slide over kind of contains those buttons at the bottom. They kind of push to the bottom automatically, right? So I've got two options. I either make it so that it is a form that I have control of the buttons and I can kind of configure it the way I want to. So I can do a submit action sort of thing, right? Um, um, but then I can still get the form that I create, but then this is all messy. So what I'm focused on right now is making this reusable because obviously this is a form that I would use multiple times. I turn it into a div, then I could put the form inside of this. That would do that, but hey, wait, don't chew my chair. That's not fun. What have you found? Fine. Um, yeah, so I could do that. Actually, just make that div because it's not doing anything as a form there. It's just doing something as a layout component. Um, that still works, but obviously I don't need the buttons. But now, if I build something, those buttons have to kind of know about the layout of the entire thing. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, oh well, if I put the content there, then the buttons kind of become part of it. So if I use it as a nested form automatically and just kind of wire everything up, then it would work. But could, for starters, make a dummy form control with a form sample. Yeah. Challenge. Okay, time to lie down. Time to lie down. Just relax. I should try and train her to get used to this. Now the form needs to get function. The extra stuff that happens on submit cancel that function calls the close method to slide over. Yeah. I don't like the idea of making the child control understand the board of but the justified end button style. That's the problem. That's what I'm getting stuck on right now. It's kind of like, okay, how do I lay this out properly? If I make this if this is a form, then I just add the controls that I need. So I always treat it as a form control. It's just a layout for the form control, and I've got the form group. Now the form group, I can still provide a name, so it's not the end of the world. I can pass that in and configure it, and then I could have add planning form can be a control that pops out. form can also be flexed and it has a flex grow so that it will take all the space available from the parent slide. But then I have to make the form understand its layout rather than just providing a form that is laid out by virtue of it being embedded in this parent. That's kind of what I'm stuck on right this second. Like, make this is really the way I'm doing it right this second is I'm saying this is actually not a slide over component, it's a slide over wide form. Right? Sit down. Down. Lay down. We're not chewing cables. Lie down. No. No amount of high fives will help. Lie down. G-Man, thank you very much for the follow. I apologize for the slightly disrupted content. I have a puppy in the room with me that's quite rightly restless. But take all the space off and slide over. What do I want to do? Where? She just waits until I start talking again. No, don't want to know. Oh, good. Happy to see someone working with Angular on Twitch. I don't see it a lot. Oh, nice. Well, you will see a whole lot more of it in the coming months. I'm not an Angular expert by any stretch of the imagination. I am reacquainting myself. I'm primarily a backend developer. Obviously, when you're doing everything yourself, you don't have the option. Yeah, I would have to tie in the events. So if I did it as a slide over form, if I made it a slide over form, then the events would have to I'd have to hook them up into here, right? So I'd have to have, okay, what happens when I submit? What happens when it's a validation, etc. I can still lay the form out. I don't think it'd be impossible. But if I do it so it's just a control, so realistically, what I'm saying is, what we want to do here is make this the form, right? So that the form lives inside of this. But now on the app slide over, here I have to get rid of these action buttons now because now they're useless. Hello. No. People don't want to hear dogs licking the microphone. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Good girl. Come on. Come sit. My apologies if you did hear the snoofer going there. Yeah. So yeah, the button layout being the responsibility of the child is yeah. I'm also back in C# mainly, but technically full stack right now with the project I'm on. The Angular is what we're using, so I went down the JS front end framework rabbit hole. Yeah. So the thing I'm working on right now is I am building an agile project management tool. Right? So from tickets right through to stories. I'm focused on the planning items right now. So I've kind of introduced a third component to this. So tickets are, support stuff. Planning is the stage that if something comes from support that needs more work and needs more effort from the business, it can go into planning. And if a story needs developing before it actually gets put in front of developers, it goes to planning. So I'm focused on that middle part right now. Oh, lie down. Lie down. So I've been building this over the last couple of months on stream and off stream. So I've got the back end components kind of working. So the way this works is He says as he goes to find yet another diagram. Nope, not that one. Not that one. Not that one. Do I have it? Yes, I do. Yeah, so basically the way this is functioning right now, we have ticketing, planning, and stories isn't evolved enough to be a component on this chart right now. But these are the kind of the pieces I've been working on to prove some of the concepts. So tenant management, you register the application. So if I go back here and sign out, you can register. You can go through this process, enter the details, enter your company details, register. Be chewing. And when you sign in, you know, clean architecture. This is and again, I don't like. I've never liked trying to align to an architecture because I just feel that it's still interpreted. And again, when we were looking at, we try to the only reason this looks like this is because I wanted to make sure that it was at least from a stream perspective, people would be familiar enough that they could actually know where I was going, and that way they could have more contribution. If I'm building my own way of doing this, which wasn't too dissimilar, if I'm honest, just from my evolution as a developer, then it's a little harder to understand. So I've kind of aligned this, but I was looking at different ways of people implementing this, and four of the biggest names I found all had different ways of doing this. So it was challenging anyway. So I tried to align. The way it functions is data comes in through the APIs, we write it. Domain events publish. It's not domain driven, but it's domain events because that's the way that it gets tagged. And then Kafka publishes that data out with integration events. They're integrated into a read database, and the client is reading from the read database. I am going to put NGRX and stuff in this client because it is going to be big enough to be worth it. You could go. And yeah, so this is the general path I'm heading down. I've been working on it for about 6 months overall. But there's a lot of structure in here. Consumers, all the Kafka pieces, and I've developed a few libraries that I've shared off stream. Off stream. I've shared open source. The overall code is not open source because it is something I want to turn into a real product. But yeah. A 5-minute dog cam should be a point where, yeah, I need to get my room into a place where a 5-minute dog cam would be. Oh, that's what you're chewing. No, this is the stylus for my brand new drawing tablet. That's what you were chewing. No, it's not a stick. No. Sorry, but no. I'm not buying another tablet because you chewed the pen. No. Don't work that way. Brand new today. She's a pit mix. We have two 9-month-old pit mixes. Taylor and Loki. They are. I put the BRB screen up 1 second. Wait. How is it low enough that the puppy can get to it? A, the puppy is not tiny. He's like 35, 40 pounds. And B, it actually rolled off when I was going to get her before. So it rolled off onto the floor and I didn't know it. Come here. Come. Lie down. Time to lie down. Yeah, chew the bottle. No, not tiny anymore. Those pictures are from when they were like 4 months old, I think. But yeah. this room isn't meant to be puppy proof. They're not meant to be in here. So yeah. So anyway, this is the architecture we're going with. So or I'm going with rather. So the long-term goal is to build out all these pieces. Right now I'm focused on the planning so that I can focus on a UI vertical, and I can start to demonstrate some of these concepts on stream, and B, we can kind of, it's easier for people to actually we were talking about this earlier on. It's easier for people to get involved and kind of interact with it as I go. So yeah. Okay, so on submit would look like add planning item on submit parent side of a close. Mm. So again, the layout of those buttons is still going to trip me up, isn't it? Because those buttons have to go in that layout now. Right. So if I do that, right, watch this. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, so that lays out like that. But now this form here, right, has to have that. I think that's it for me today. It's super late and I'm yawning all over the place. Nice rest of the stream. Thank you, Sorcery. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I know it's late for you. I appreciate it. See you soon. Haven't been and visited yet. Sorcery is building a rather fascinating game. Yeah. Idle Camp is called, but it's a builder and a brawler and all sorts. So I would highly recommend going following and checking that out. And Canny, I can't give you a shout right now because I don't have a bot. Canny is also developing awesome stream overlays, so I would highly recommend checking them out. Both in Godot. One in C#, one in GD script. Canny, thank you very much for hanging out. Appreciate you. Very cool moving around though. Lots of interactivity. So that's cool. Yeah. Form could have class flex growth, let's call. Yeah, the challenge is the whole making the child elements responsible for it. So I have to remember to do that every single time. That's kind of what I was going like. Let's have a look. Flex growth, another button that could have a give class flex growth, let's call. Take care, Sorcery. Take care, Canny. Good night. Dog found a bottle. Wait, got toys for that. Hmm. Let's have a look. What does that look like now? Yeah, so they go there. Now does that? If I do that, that doesn't change anything at all. Because the buttons are now still part of the content, they're not part of the parent. So I can't affect the parent. The parent can't affect that child content anyway. Unless I start messing around with CSS, right, and apply rules. Hmm. But I do agree that the flexibility in this comes from making this not making this controller form, making the controller control and adding the form, right? So it's a slide over wide control. I can drop the form in. That makes sense. I do agree with that. The challenge is, right? Because I can do this. I can make that say click equals add planning item. Dot what will slide over, right? I can do that. That's not beyond the realms of possibility, right? That works. So I can still interact with the form. Make form be a component on itself, and you can always use that. So instead of form, you do my form and pass the attributes down to the child form. Right. I guess I'm stuck on the styling still. It's just the I think what ultimately I would need to do is actually say, okay, well, there's a button panel. E-man, thank you very much for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you. Most appreciated. Let me see. Let me see. Not healthy. It. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. I was giving her a snack because she just gave up a bottle. Four. Four. High five. High five. Or lick fingers. That's fine. High five. High five. Go. Okay, so okay, here's how to do it. What we do is we take this. Oh, because we need that, don't we? We need this. So what made the form fill up for? Yeah, but I know it's not much, but really enjoy the insight so far. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. Thank you. It's so I do stream. I don't know where in the world you are. I stream in the US. I am US based, even though I might not sound like it. I stream Monday to Friday normally, 9 a.m. my time. But I also stream on weekends, and I do stream, and I do try and get streams in longer on several days. Like Tuesday and Friday next week will be stream days that are longer. Yes, div with the same class inside the div. I want to repeat that. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? This is so. What I was thinking there is, if I get the styles right, then this actually stops being this and becomes slide button panel, right? And that just becomes a CSS style that I put in place, and that's a common thing. Then I don't have to keep doing the repeating it. It stops it being a concern. And I can kind of make all the components in it relative to that if I can figure out the styling. Wow. Come on. Yeah. Come here. Yes, it didn't make the buttons go down. No, I didn't. That's kind of what I'm like, oh, come here. Come here. Come on, you can say hi. Come here. Do you have any more cake? You don't have any more cookies? No, no more balls. um, No, not what I want. Not what I want. Hello, come here. You're gonna keep doing it. I know. Um, this is where I'm gonna get stuck, right? Because I'm using Tailwind. I'm not an expert in Tailwind. I'm not worrying. Like the UI stuff is the hard part. Right? Will always be the hard part. Let's go and put the form in place. So let's go. Let me actually kind of make a form. Registration step one. Step one. Kind of want something that looks like this. I do apologize for my distraction. It's not that I want to do it, but obviously I do need to make sure I don't see a dog hurt as she's chewing things. Boom. No, no. Dear. Let's just remove that for a second. Let's remove the validation for a second. We'll worry about that in a second. And let's remove that. So what we could do is we can create a control for the user, the add planning item form, and then bind all this up together as a control, and then it just nests inside of this. There. Right. Thank you. And then let's see what it looks like. Well, not exactly what I wanted, but yeah. How did I get the layout? Oh, it's because I've copied the style in there. Which does make sense. I would want the same form style. Let's remove the label. Where you'd think we didn't feed dogs. What time? 3 hours. Item center. So the style of this form, I probably would want a bit different. You think that the closing div should go before the action buttons comment? That one should go there. Yeah, you're not wrong. Interesting. That's the actual panel. Okay, so that included it in the centering, the 2/3 with up the top, right? That's what that was. So this I don't want anymore. This I don't want anymore. That would be title. That would be running item title. Is there anything you won't chew? Okay, let's finish this up. Description. I'm not gonna worry too much about that being an actual text box or whatever right this second. You know, there's all sorts of different. So if we're being realistic, right? If we're doing Jira, the this is going to be a rich text box, right? Well, text boxed. It's going to be a rich text box. It's not going to be just a text field. But for right now, for what I'm developing, I just need to capture some data, and that's all that matters. So make that text. Placeholder would be description. And I think, before I do anything functional in this, I want to get the I want to get the actual buttons at the bottom. The other thing that is that grow, that should make it so the content takes up. So does that belong? That's flex, flex call. The only difference there is flex grow. Oh. At this point, I don't want to get into a guessing game over this. That's the worst part about working with CSS and layout and stuff. Is it's if you need to get something done, going off and learning all the different intricacies of how everything lays out and what rules combine with what rules, you're going to end up going crazy. So I'm not going to panic about it. Let's see if we can get this create. Let's create a control. So I'm going to create a forms section here. I think that makes sense. Planning forms, right? Okay, I'm going to be right back because I want to finish this before the end of the stream. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get rid of her. I'm going to take her and make sure she's safe because she's just going to chew everything in my room. I'll do something. I'll be right back. Okay, that should be me back for a little while. Let's see if we can get this form done, and then I can go and pay the right amount of attention to the dog. That's... Oh. Oh. Okay. I'm gonna, as much as I want to do this, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to finish up. Dog decided that it was toilet time. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for hanging out. D-Man, thank you very much for the sub yet again. I will be back. I will likely be back tomorrow. Yeah. So, because I want to finish this up. I want to get this flowing, right? I want to get the ad planning item flowing because that allows me to start thinking about what comes next, edits and whatnot. And I start to think about NGRX and the data flow back through the system. is something I want to do, right? So I want to capture how do I make the Angular client actually get changes pushed down to it in the behind and in the behind the scenes of the stores and update the UI and stuff that way. So these are things that I need to challenge myself to do. This app is going to be more complicated. So thank you very much for joining me. I will just finish up here. Take care. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll see you soon. Thank you, Junikas, for all the help. Thank you, G-Mana, for the sub. And yeah, take care. There is a Discord if you want to join, by the way, if you're hanging around. So thank you very much. Good night.